of a donkey. And then turned around and God made water come out of a hollow part of this bone so he would have water to drink, because he would, after he had killed up all those folks, he was so tired and thirsty. He was like, God, I'm about to die. I am so tired. But to kill up 1,000 men, one man, with the jawbone of a donkey, that was one man that was doing a lot of hitting, and I mean, he was working. He went to work. He worked overtime to pull that off. I want to talk a little bit about something that happened. Again, I want to go back to the lion that Samson killed, because I want to kind of focus on that whole thing and the way that whole thing went down. So I'm going to do quite a bit of reading, but follow me if you can. As usual, I'm reading from the King James Version. I'm at the 14th chapter of the book of Judges. I'm talking about Samson, the judge of Israel, one of 12 judges of Israel. So, again, I want to start at 5. Samson's going down, to get his bride, the Philistine. She's from Timnath. And so he's going down, and says, then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily up on him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. Tore him. He put something on the lion, and he had nothing in his hand. He did it barehanded. But he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down, and he talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time, he returned to take her. And he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. The same lion that he killed, of course, it is turning into dirt, or, it is, it's just a carcass when he goes back by. It has, I cannot think of the word that I'm trying to say, but somebody put it in the chat for me. It had not eroded, but it had wasted away. He killed it, left it on the side of the road. When he came back, there was only a carcass. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating. And he obviously got a big enough piece of honeycomb, because he gave some to his father and his mother, and they did eat. But he did not, he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. And I guess it wouldn't have been good to tell him, because I probably wouldn't have wanted to eat honey that came out of a dead lion. But anyway, Samson was just an unusual character. So I am now at 14:10. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. So he had a party, in other words, and it came to pass when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. So 30 of his friends came to kick it with him while he was having a party, because he's getting married. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. Riddle. Samson, a riddle. I found that interesting, and I started, to look up the word riddle. And we all know that we kind of think that a riddle is a joke, but a riddle is a statement, a question, or a phrase having a double or a veiled meaning, a hidden meaning, put forth as a puzzle to be solved, a mystifying, misleading, or puzzling question posed as a problem to be solved or guessed. So they had this party, him and 30 of his friends, and he has a riddle that he wants to put forth before them. So he says in 12, he says, if you can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, because he's having a 7-day celebration, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments, which had value in that day. He says, you're going to get 30 pieces of material. You're going to get 30 new changes of clothes. Everybody's going to get it. 30 guys at his feast, at his wedding party. And if y'all can figure out what this riddle means, he says that I'm going to give y'all some new stuff. Y'all going to all get something. He says in 13, but if you cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. And they said unto him, okay, well, tell us what this riddle is. And he said unto them, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. So 3 days, they scratching their head, they can't figure this thing out. So to make a long story short, they go to the new wife. And they say to her, get it out of him. Let me tell you something. Samson had such a weak spot for women. It was women that got him in trouble. And it was the enemy's women. But then we know that that's what God was using. God was doing that so that he could get the Philistines. But the wife comes and she starts crying. And she's like, oh, tell me what the riddle means. Because the 30 friends have come to her and said, you know what? Get it out of him. We don't know how to answer this. There are 3 days going and nothing is happening. And they say to her, we want you to get it out of him. What does this riddle mean? It says in 14 and 16, and Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost but hate me and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother. Why would I tell it to you? Is what he said in other words, a paraphrase. And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. And so they come back and they tell Samson what his riddle is about. And it upsets him, and he says, well, if you had not, I'm reading actually in 18, Judges 14 and 18. He says, and I'm reading the B clause, he says, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you had not found out my riddle. So he likens the new wife to a heifer and said, in other words, if y'all hadn't gotten her to tell y'all, y'all wouldn't know. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon. Ashkelon is another city of the Philistines. And what he does is he beats up these 30 guys, and he takes some stuff from them. And he goes and he gives it, and he pays what he owes to the guys that were at the feast. So he takes something from all 30 of the guys in Ashkelon. He actually kills them, it says, and he slew 30 men of them and took their spoil and gave change of garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. So we got a problem with this new wife. But let's talk a little bit about the riddle, because the riddle has, of course, to do with the lion that he has killed. And I just want to read exactly what he says about, He says in 18, and the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? So they figured it out, that he was talking about the honey that came out of the lion. And it upset him. But anyway, let's move on, because I want to leave you tonight with a riddle. But I wanted to talk about this guy because he is so different. We know the rest of the story, how Delilah, she lays his head in her lap, and she, pretends as though she cares about him, and she's really going to betray him. And it says in 16 and 20, go quickly over. After all of that had gone down, he didn't even realize that the Lord had departed from him. So he thought, okay, I told her my secret, but I'm still going to, be able to get up and to shake myself, and I'm going to be okay. And most of us know about that part of Samson and Delilah, and that is pretty much what we know about him. It says in 21, I'm at Judges 16 and 21, but the Philistines took him. After she had cut his hair off and he didn't have any more strength, the Philistines came upon Samson. They took him, they put out his eyes, and they brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass. And he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. So then the Philistines, the lords of the Philistines, which means these are the leaders of this group of people, they are up on this roof and they're kind of celebrating their God, Dagon, but they decide somebody go get Samson so we can, make a mockery out of him and he can come and show us his strength and make sport for us and do all kinds of things like that, and we'll get to kind of laugh and make fun of him. And so when the people saw Samson in 24:16 and 24, they praised their God, for they said, our God had delivered into our hands our enemy and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. But what they did not know is that he was just about to kill more than he had ever killed of them. And so we know that he gets the boy to bring him. Samson says, I can't see. They put my eyes out. And he says in 26, follow me at 16 and 26. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, he says, suffer me or allow me, put my hands up so I can feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean up on these pillars. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson called unto the Lord, and he said, O Lord God, he said, remember me, I pray thee, and give me some strength, Lord. That's what he said. He says, I pray thee only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one on his right hand, and of the other with his left. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. And so God's plan was realized. His plan was realized. God from the beginning, did what he did. And Samson got himself involved with the Philistines, but God did kill, including the ones that he killed with the jawbone and the ones on the house. We're looking at about 4,000 people or so that God killed with one man, a judge of 20 years of Israel. So I just wanted to talk about that tonight, and I want to leave you, as I said, with a riddle. And you can go back and listen to this, because you won't have time to write it all down. But I do want you to listen to a riddle that I want to give you tonight. And I want to say that if you answer this riddle correctly, and you're in touch with me on any of my social media platforms and let me know, you are going to receive a gift. So you will have to probably listen to it again in order to get the riddle. But I'm going to give you a hint. And if you answer correctly at any of my social media platforms, email addresses are included on my social medias. You can reach me that way, or you can DM me, or you can leave something there. But if you get the answer to this riddle, and you let me know that you have the answer, then you can win a prize. So here's the riddle that I'm going to leave with you. It came to carry me, though I could walk. It came to speak for me, though I could talk. It came to fight for me, though I was good with my hands. It came to change my life, though I already had a plan. So what is it? Your hint is, you can find it in the book of 1 John in the 4th chapter. And I'm going to repeat it one more time before I sign off tonight. And again, if you get the answer and you let me know that you have the answer, then you're going to win a prize. And I have more than one prize. So, it came to carry me, though I could walk. It came to speak for me, though I could talk. It came to fight for me, though I was good with my hands. It came to change my life, though I already had a plan. So what is it? And again, your